So, I had my commencement ceremony for my associate's degree that I completed last December, yesterday. It was a whole, cap and gown, 400 plus graduates ceremony. Family came in, son was there. It was really a big ordeal, very efficient, very cool. And I normally don't really take stuff like that seriously or I'm doing it, right? I'm going through the motions. I graduated. I'm happy to honor this achievement. But at the same time, I don't really hold these things tightly, and I don't equate these things to like the value of the person that I am. I'm not like status driven, but I still went and I enjoyed my time, mainly because, we had this speaker. And it started off like any, normal speech where you're thanking all the staff and the students and all the things, and you're doing the whole, pageantry of it all. But then it got real where the speaker, she was speaking, she's an older woman, and she was speaking about the importance of quietness and having this spaciousness in your life to be able to really go within and getting contact with what she even used the words like contact with your creator, your purpose, and like why you're here. She kept emphasizing like the why, like your why you're here. And I was really grateful to hear that because, I'm just going through the motions, right? I'm just showing up to this award ceremony. It's in this humongous, auditorium type deal and civic center kind of thing. I don't know what they're called in Europe, but yeah, it's like this cathedral, not cathedral, that's a church. Yeah, it's like a stadium, but smaller scale. And she alluded to and was describing and reminding us all that like life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you have to think about things like in stages and phases. And you can't say yes to everything all at once. And especially as young people, we think we can. And I know that I've definitely dealt with that myself. Coming to terms and grappling with reality and feeling like I have to make something like an all or nothing endeavor. I have to overhaul my entire life or burn out and do nothing. And stay in this like limbo of like really just ping-ponging my nervous system back and forth. And so it was just a really special experience to be able to be in like one of the most normal settings that's condoned in our society of like go to college, get a degree, do the right thing, and have that kind of like drop of inspiration come down from the heavens, to jolt me out, even though it didn't feel jolting, but to nudge me into this like grounded reminder of I have time. But I'll have less time if I continue to rev my engine and burn myself out and try to build Rome in a day. I remember my dad always used to say that. Rome wasn't built in a day, honey. And so I felt inspired to make this video last night as I was like in bed meditating and kind of discussing with ChatGPT about this. It really started off as this like, oh, I really want to travel. I've been thinking about that a lot, and I've been making these like subtle moves to figure out ways I can do that on such a limited budget, being, in the financial economic reality that I'm in, and like a low income person, single mom, all that, student, and I've been opening and exploring the different possibilities, and in those openings and explorations of the different possibilities to make like virtual assistant roles happen or any kind of remote work to bring in some extra income, it would really trigger me, actually. I've followed and studied those different pathways of, online earnings for years now. And not just like dilly-dallying. I've like really applied myself. I've tried, I've worked, and I've kind of like obsessed over it for many years. And then I kind of let it all go because I think I was doing it because I felt compelled to do it. I felt like I had to do it. I felt like, who am I if I don't do this? Like trying to be someone or put myself in some type of role or status that I don't actually identify with or resonate with. And I'm really grateful that nothing really came to be from those things, because I was trying and I was going in the right direction, but it wasn't the right thing for me, because in that trying and investigating and trial and error process, I was actually resolving a lot of psychology without even realizing it, and coming up against my own intuition. Like I fell into a lot of like MLM stuff, and I was just like, this feels skeezy, and I'm done trying to let someone trying to tell me that it's not. And it's just like different type of sale models, and not to say that they're wrong, but it's just not my focus, like what they were offering to me. I did a lot of like, MLMs, look them up. I've tried that, and it just doesn't work for me and my personality. I don't work like that. And so I did start to explore a little bit, kind of subconsciously, just getting back on social media, because I don't really have it. And when I do get on, my feed has been curated in a certain way that I see certain things when I first log in. And one of them has been a creator that I found several months ago, who's exploring a more authentic way of making money online that requires looking at it from the view of a marathon and not a sprint in terms of sharing. And I felt myself get triggered again, just feeling like inadequate, or it was more, I realized, like more of my ego being challenged, because it's not an instantaneous thing, and it requires me to slow down and take my time in exploring my creativity through these mediums, if that makes any sense. Like making and editing videos again, and not having it just be a one-off thing, because it's actually really gratifying for me to edit videos and put content out there in a way that feels really good and creative and inspiring. And I was doing that. And somewhere along the way, I kind of shut down because I got kind of overwhelmed by life. And so I've decided to nurture this a little bit more and create some kind of discipline and explore my creativity and my passions and the things that I know I'm supposed to be doing. Not supposed to, but like I know is there for me in a way that's like kind to my nervous system. And so instead of making everything all about like a complete overhaul of my life or all or nothing, chunking it down into phases, chunking my life down into phases. So for example, I have a goal that I want to travel abroad next summer. So that would require me, saving and exploring some online money-making endeavors that I'm more than capable of doing, like virtual assistant work, or I saw remote customer service. English tutoring, things that I'm really good at that I can utilize, like my personality, my skill set. I'm a really, really good virtual assistant, actually. It's because I'm like that for myself. I am my own virtual assistant. And, acquiring different skills that I might need in order to do that. Because if I'm going to get myself out of poverty, no one's going to take me out of poverty. I have to do it, And I've actually made peace with my economic situation because I've got a budget. And I realize I don't need a lot of things. Like, I want to travel, but I don't need like the latest fashion trend or to go out to eat every day. I cook all my food, I meal prep. My type of recreational activity is like walking around, and I have a really simple life. And so, this last round that you saw me the most active on my channel, I was doing this 40 days of showing up, and I feel like now I want to kind of bring you along this journey of this different phase of life that I'm in, of being more realistic and practical and chunking down and making things like attainable and is respectful to my nervous system, because I'm just not into ping-ponging myself around anymore, because I feel like I'm living by the whim of some subconscious thing or some, I don't know, internalized stigma or whatever it is that is kind of hijacking and running the show in the moment that I'm allowing that to play out, and instead just like taking the long road. Like, I'm an adult now. I don't have to rush. And I'll have a lot more fun in the process, because the cool thing about being an adult is like, I find it really satisfying whenever I'm taking off not just my to-do list, but like when I'm taking care of myself and I've like worked out for the day and I did a sauna afterwards and I hydrated correctly and I ate the right thing for my body, and like, it's just, I can sleep so good, literally, physically can sleep so good when I take care of myself. And there's like, those are like wins to me now. And, doing my responsibilities. Responsibility is really satisfying for me. So I'm just looking at my notes. And so, yeah, I just wanted to take you on this journey of like me slowly but surely incorporating more creativity and like kind of like one creative addition to my videos and content as well, because I know that's what I'm here to do, and like be content creating. And even though it triggers me, it's not about me. Using that as fuel to go in, excavate, be reborn, and show up even better, for the world, because this isn't about me. This is about showing an alternative way to be. Just me expressing myself. That's what this is about. And we all have a right to do that, because we're all here on planet Earth, and we get to show up as ourselves. And so this is how I'm showing up. So I have a laptop that was given to me. It's a really nice laptop. It was about a year or two ago it was given to me, maybe a year ago. And I was thinking about making that like my video editing computer. And, cracking open Descript again or any other platform and just like reteaching myself how to edit videos again. And because I think it's worthwhile, and it'll be more engaging and more interesting for me to watch back, and it just takes time. These things take time. So I'm curious, what's one thing that you've been kind of circling around or overcoming in yourself lately? Because they're like whispers. They just kind of like come in. You don't really notice them, but they're there. And then all of a sudden, like last night for me, it was like a light switch, And I'd been waiting because it felt like I was in purgatory for a while, like not feeling creative, not feeling the inspiration. But I was just kind of like tuning myself to my team, my Ascended Master team, and just being really clear in my intentions and what I'm calling forth for the planet and the world that I want to see, that I no longer accept, things that I no longer accept as conditions on this planet. That's like kind of like my service work to the world, like picking up trash, invoking light from the Ascended Masters to resolve certain worldly conditions that we no longer accept because we've transcended the consciousness that, held space for them to be in the first place, and invoking, the awakening of humanity to no longer accept these conditions as something that we deem as normal or acceptable, like a living wage for people, universal health care, no pedophilia, extorting and manipulating the economy and siphoning wealth from the people who are actually offering a service and generating wealth for the world, like these bajillionaires that have no morality or interest in what's best for humanity, So all that to say is I'm happy to be back in a new state of being, in this new version of myself, and I will continue to evolve and transform along the way, and just giving myself a lot of grace and compassion as I go, because who gives a shit? We're all just experimenting. That's what this is. That's what this planet is. So enjoy your time. Have fun. Go for it.